Salvete omnes, this is I'm Emilio, also known as TheMartianGeek, and welcome back to another episode of The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. The first and previous episode was pretty much just scene setting. We got introduced to our characters and some of the mechanics of the game, but we didn't get into any actual combat. Well, that's about to change. And yeah, my save file doesn't say January 1st, it says December 30th. I am recording this in advance, so I figured I might be busy on New Year's Day, you know. So, better save time. Anyway, we have a new book to look at, if I can remember which key it is. So yeah, achievements, list of all the magic we can get. And this list gets expanded in Trails in the Sky SC, the second game, and the third game. So yeah, that'll tell us our elemental values. For instance, we can cast Stonehammer if we have any Earth Elemental Quartz at all. But if we want to cast Earth Lance, we need a line that has at least 5 Earth Elemental value. And Stone Impact, we need at least 3 Earth and 2 Space. Generally, all the area of effect magic requires Space Quartz. But in the first game, there isn't actually any Space Elemental magic. Also, we only have 3 different attack spells for Water Elemental stuff, because it tends to be more for healing in the first game. We have our fire, which is exclusively attack. We have our time ones. Wind, of course, or air. I don't know why they call it wind, not just air, but whatever. We have one Mirage Elemental spell, Chaos Brand. We'll get to that. And then we have our support spells on the third page. Earth Guard, Earth Wall, our healing spells, all that. So, the different types of quartz we can get. We have 3 different levels of all the stat-based ones. Okay, is it just me, or are the T's in attack lowercase when everything else is capitalized? That's weird. Kind of off-putting. Range 1 increases the AoE on things. Move, action, cast. Cast we only have 2 different levels. At least in this game. The movement we'll get to. We also have some ones that can cause status effects, and ones that'll reduce the cost to cast magic, which we want to get those as soon as possible. I find that the EP cut quartz are really good ones to put in Estelle's middle slot, because they have 3 different elemental values, and she doesn't have any elemental locked slots. Impede gives you a chance of canceling magic. Information we'll also get to, and then we have a few special ones. So orbments, we kind of already went through these. Or basically went through what they all mean. I remember that space element being yellower than that. Oh, it actually explains the line thing. Orbment slots 1 to 6 are connected by the lines that extend out from the central slot 1. In Estelle's situation, the slots 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 6, 5 are separated into 2 lines. After a quartz is installed, the elemental value of the line of design will be calculated, and when a line's elemental value total reaches the necessary value for a certain art, that art can then be utilized. So yeah, I explained this in the last episode basically, but now we just get confirmation in the game's actual information system. We also have crafts, which are unique abilities for characters that we get from leveling up. And that's what the CP meter is for. Like I said, that didn't matter in the last episode because we didn't get into any combat. But we also have S-crafts and S-breaks, which we'll also get into later, I think. It's best to see it in action. Same goes for the battle order. Status effects pretty much do exactly what you'd expect. Though it's worth noting that some of them in this game don't quite work how they do in some others. In particular, the confusion status doesn't go away when the person afflicted with it is attacked by something. That'll be important later, but not for a while. Let's see, anything else worth... elementals, this is an odd way of wording that, but this is basically elemental weaknesses and resistances. The higher the percentage, the bigger the damage dealt. The opposite is also true. So for instance, in the example, Earth elemental attacks would only do 70% of the damage, Water would only do 50, Fire would do double damage, and Air element would do normal damage. can also cook recipes, which also hasn't come into play yet. So many things to explain. And pay. You get bracer points, not to be confused with the BP in Bravely Default. And you get stuff for it. Parameters, HP is hit points, same as ever. EP I explained, CP I kind of explained. I basically explained all the stats. And we have towns, which we already saw on the map. So, we can also go to Rolent, and this will tell us what our jobs are and were. So yeah. Let's do this. Wait a minute, Estelle. There appears to be a recovery point over there, so we should use it if our HP or EP become low. Orbit charging stations are recovery points set up in dangerous areas. As the recovery point is approached, an exclamation mark will appear and two choices will be displayed by pressing the OK button. By selecting the rest option, all HP and EP will be restored. We haven't actually taken damage. Oh, sounds like a plan to me. We haven't taken damage or used any magic, but you might notice that Joshua's EP actually isn't full, and that's, well, actually neither is Estelle's. And in both cases, that's just because we installed quartz that increased it. So we'll go ahead and rest. Haven't even started the test proper and we're already sleeping. Actually, I don't think the implication that would be that you'd actually sleep on one of those, but still. So there's our first monster. Yeah, pretty standard. First dungeon of the game, go to the sewer and fight rats, go to the cave and fight bats, go to the sewer cave and fight rats and bats, standard RPG stuff. Monsters at 12 o'clock. Be careful not to let them take advantage of your blind side. Got it. Monsters cannot be seen from far away. They will become visible as you approach them. You can actually get a quartz so that isn't the case, but I forget if it's in the first game. The conditions at the start of a battle will change depending on how a monster is engaged. Engaging an enemy from behind is advantageous, while being attacked by an enemy from behind is disadvantageous. So, we're both facing each other, so it doesn't matter here. Battle order bar indicates who attacks first. It starts from the top and moves down. So we're starting with Estelle, and then Joshua, and then the monsters. Attack an enemy, you may also use it to move if you're using a mouse and click an empty location. A highlighted area indicates the distance a character can move. Selecting a target in this area will move the character to attack. When an enemy is out of your range, that icon will appear on your cursor. Selecting an out-of-range target will move the character as close to it as possible. Another typo, but no attack will be performed. So we can also move. We don't have any arts or crafts that we can use yet, or at least the game isn't letting us do so. Items, our tear bombs basically do the same thing as our healing spell, just heal 200 HP. So yeah, we can move along this grid here, but we can't move and attack in the same turn. So yeah, basically, Trails in the Sky's battle system, and by extension the other Trails games, is basically turn-based RPG with a little bit of tactical RPG thrown in. But right now, all we really need to do is hit the monster with the stick. So now Joshua, he can move farther, but his attack range isn't as good. But we can gang up on this monster. Get rid of it, and it'll drop some Sepith for us. And we also got an item from it. Wait, shouldn't the other monster have attacked? Oh well. Well, we can move closer to it. Now it'll probably go for Joshua. Or it can just wait. Well, Estelle isn't within range either. I wonder if they're deliberately not letting the monsters move because it's a tutorial, basically. But now we can attack the dirty rat. Deal some damage. It does not have any elemental resistances or weaknesses. I remember learning about elemental resistance and weaknesses in tabletop RPGs, Pathfinder, D&D, that kind of thing, and thinking that they're surprisingly rare, especially weaknesses. So we got 10 experience, and we'll need 160 to get to level 4. We also got some earth, fire, and space sepith, and 2 juicy bones. Really? You're gonna eat bones from rats in the sewer? Blech. Oh look, it's a swarm of bugs. Here comes some more. Depending on the enemy, some physical attacks may be ineffective. Let's use arts, not physical attacks. Okay. Arts are effective on enemies that are good at avoiding physical attacks. Arts also make long-range attacks possible, but they require time to be cast. Which is another thing about this game, or this series. EP is consumed when arts are used. EP can be recovered by resting at inns, hotels, or by using charge stations and other items like an EP charge, or MP healing item. So yeah, we can't very well hit bugs with the stick, so we're gonna use magic on them. Arts are effective against foes that are difficult to hit with the weapon or those on which physical attacks have little effect. It takes time before arts can be cast, also EP is consumed when arts are cast. All arts have an element. Determine the element most effective against your foe and use it. So, they don't have any elemental weaknesses or resistances either. Moth Cluster, huh? But we can squirt them with water. But again, it uses up extra time to cast. And Clock Up, that's a buff spell. It'll increase our speed temporarily. I don't tend to use the buffs very frequently early in the game, because they're actually affected by your speed stat instead of a number of turns the character gets, and it doesn't really tell you how that works in the game, at least not in this game. So we can either drop a boulder on them, or we can, well, use time thingies on them. And we might as well do that because it has a 20% chance of causing a status effect. These things only have 8 HP, so I highly doubt they'll survive the initial spell anyway, but... yeah, about what I thought. Squirt the moths. Not that you can still try to attack them. It's just more likely to miss. Got 12 experience and some air and mirage sepets, as well as an onion. Why were moths carrying an onion? I have so many questions. Still, let's try using crafts this time around. Since they have other effects besides just dealing out damage, they're worth a shot. Roger that. Crafts have range limits, but can be utilized instantly. CP is gained by dealing out or receiving damage during battle. Tutorial Part 3, so both characters have 20 CP. Crafts are character-specific skills that not only deal out damage, but also have a broad range of effects. Using crafts consumes CP. CP is gradually gained by dealing out or receiving damage in battle. Note that you can gain CP by using crafts on things, and it does count magic, of course, but... So, in later games, if you have a craft that hits enough enemies, you can actually gain more CP than you used. But, of course, that won't come into play here. So, Estelle's first craft is Morale, and that's just a buff spell, or buff ability. Increases our physical attack by 20%. In an AoE. And Joshua has Dual Strike, which is a double hit attack. So, yeah. And it does more damage since we're buffed now. Oh, first hit. But Joshua's speedy, so he can double knife the other. Wait, oh yeah, I didn't use the craft, right. Brilliant. Well, we didn't need to. We couldn't have used the craft if we had wanted to anyway. But up to 32 experience, some more bones, some horns. Wait, since when did those rats have horns? I don't remember seeing anything like that. But anyway, we have our first treasure chest. And we get a reviving balm. Fun thing about Trails in the Sky is originally in the original Japanese version, all treasure chests would give a message about them being empty when you tried to interact with them after already opening them. But they had I'm trying to say is each treasure chest had its own pointer for the text, so when Xseed translated it, they decided to spice things up a bit by giving each one their own unique message. The chest is empty, because of you. Nice work, hero. Yeah, so a lot of them are funny comments like that, in-jokes, things like that. Oh, what a surprise, another creepy thing. I wish there were an easier way to take care of them. One blow using an S-Craft or S-Break should do the trick for just about any enemy. The catch is, our CP has to be at least 100 to pull off one of those moves. These devastating attacks can only be unleashed when the CP gauge is above 100. S-Breaks are actions that allow S-Crafts to be immediately unleashed while ignoring the battle order. S-Crafts, which are unleashed as S-Breaks, can be changed by going to Tactics and then set S-Break from within the main menu. It doesn't matter right now because we each only have one S-Craft, but Hey, suddenly free CP heal. So now, Estelle is up to 100. S-Breaks, yeah. Now, ignoring the battle order once the CP gauge has reached 0? Don't you mean 100? S-Crafts, it'll be used as S-Breaks, can be changed by going to Tactics and then set S-Breaks, button, S-Break, blah blah. And we can press the break button to do that. If you're using a keyboard, you may use the 1 to 4 number keys or the arrow keys to select it before unleashing it. I'll just use the arrow key. So, insta-turn, and we're gonna beat up this rat. We get our little portrait there, and fancy effects. And wham! Yeah. And Estelle's first S-Craft is actually really good for... Well, I'll explain that when we get to it. We haven't dealt with turn bonuses yet. And the monster missed. So, I guess I could have just used Joshua's S-Craft, but... Well, we'll use it now. We don't have to use an S-Break. So, Sever, a fainting assassin's attack. Stab! Stab! And stab. I guess the first two were more like slashes, but still.
We're good to go.
Curative Horn. So now we have the choice of pathway. What's this way? Door is rusted and appears to be locked. Okay. Well. So, monster guarding a treasure chest. So that's the treasure chest we're after, huh? If we made it this far, the rest is going to be a piece of cake. Seems like we've got a little breathing room at least. Let's pay close attention to our battle order this time. There should be a number of ways to get more mileage out of our actions. During battle, there are several bonuses that can be allotted to turns. Turn bonuses have the same effect regardless of whether they are allotted to an ally or a foe. Using S-Breaks to ignore the battle order makes it easy to jump in and strip an enemy of their turn bonus. So yeah, that's what I was going to say. And Tutorial Battle 4. So those are our battle order bonuses. The yellow heart with the 10 is heal 10% of your HP. The red Sepith icon gives you Sepith when you hit enemies. Excuse me. So yeah, that's what I was going to say. When you get a Sepith up bonus, that's when Estelle's S-Craft can be really good for getting a lot of Sepith because it does so many hits. And each one counts. But for now, all we can really do is whack. Let's see, we don't have any area of effect abilities yet. So, use the gang up on the monster strategy again. And the boss didn't heal because it was already at full HP. Yeah, we're taking some knocks. So, let's see. We'll beat up this rat. Dang, well, we're gonna lose some Sepith here, but we can hope that the enemy misses us. Well, let's see. Yeah, about what I thought. Please miss. Dang it. Yeah, that is one problem with the turn bonuses, is sometimes you can get a negative one and there's not much you can actually do about it. So another thing you can do with Sepith up bonuses is Joshua's Dual Strike, since it hits twice. I need to get rid of these moths. They're gonna knock more... Please miss. Dang it! I actually wonder if I could have healed Joshua. Well, he's getting healed anyway. Not for a whole lot, but... Go ahead and drop Boulder on the moths, which seems like it shouldn't be a whole lot more effective than hitting them with a stick, but whatever. It's magic. Take that. That's what you get for stealing my Sepith, jerk. Ah, dang. I can't make use of that bonus because she's too far away. But what I can do is do that so that when Joshua actually casts the magic, it'll land on the bonus, which is another thing that you can do. For some reason, that one doesn't count as multi-hit, even though there are other spells that do. And for the purpose of the Sepithot bonus. So that ought to take care of it.
That's that then. Let's move out.
And we got some more monster items. Let's go ahead and heal. Let's see. Yeah, Estelle's definitely running low on EP, but oh well. Found small boxes. That's weird. There's a couple of boxes inside this treasure chest. The fact that there's not just one, but two is kind of interesting, too. Wonder what's inside. Remember, Estelle, our mission is to search and retrieve only. I'm pretty sure looking inside those boxes doesn't fall under our mission objective. You're no fun at all, Joshua. This has nothing to do with our mission. It's what I like to call good, honest curiosity. You know, we're the only ones down here. We can get away with a teensy-weensy peek, right? If you feel like flunking today's test, then by all means be my guest. Did he just say the F word? Flunk this? Yep, opening one of those boxes could result in an automatic fail for the both of us. If this were a real job, the contents of those boxes would belong to the client. And as long as they were nothing illegal, we would have no right to open them. I know you're right, Joshua, but I just can't help myself. If you absolutely have to know what's inside, why not ask Miss Shara when we get back? I can't talk, apparently. But for now, we need to focus on getting out of here. Alright. So, what does this box have to say? By looking inside this chest again, you flunk! Just kidding. Okay, is there anything over here? Nope. Okay. Yeah, so I guess that's the entire dungeon. I remembered it being small, but not that small. I mean, it is, like I said, the tutorial dungeon, so makes sense. And I guess it didn't matter that we used up our EP, because we can just heal it back anyway. We could have done the same thing with HP, but whatever. So out we go. Good work, you two. As a rule of training, I'm going to need to confirm the items in your possession. We have boxes. Yep, they're the real deal, alright. I don't see any evidence of tampering either. That was a close one. I figured she would try and set us up like that. Congratulations to the both of you. You have successfully passed your qualification test. You didn't really think something that simple would be a problem for us, did you? So, Shara, what's in those boxes you had us get? That's for me to know and you to find out after your training is finished. That's enough chit-chat for now, so let's get back to work. You two still have some things left to do. Seriously? But didn't you just say that we passed the test? You still have to learn about how to report the results of your work. I'm aware that you're both tired, but this is no time to shirk your duties. Let's get back to the guild. When is this day going to be over? Oh well, no sense in giving up when the finish line is in sight. Agreed, it seems like we're within reaching distance of our goal. That's a strangely worded sentence. Your final training is how to report to the guild. Whenever you finish a job, it is your duty to report the results of your work to the guild. Reporting how you resolved the situation and the steps you took to get there are all part of your job as a bracer. You can report your results to the front desk in each guild branch, and as you already know by now, Ina is in charge here at the Rolent branch. In addition, this is where you will be paid for your work. I look forward to seeing great things from the both of you. Now that we're here, why don't you both go ahead and report the results of today's training. Blah blah blah, select report. Oh, and I also forgot to show the monster manual. If I could remember which button I mapped it to. Shoot. Seriously. Totally forgot. We also didn't check out what that item we got was, but Revolving Balm is our KO cure of this game. Basically your Phoenix Down or whatever you want to call it. And these are just ingredients for cooking. Well, I guess that's one way to go to the monster manual. So, it tells you the level, HP, stats. The more you fight him, the more information you get. Why are there two different dirty rats? Two different moth clusters, too. That's odd. But anyway, let's go ahead and report. Received payment for training retrieval. We're at Junior Bracer, ranked 9th class. We get 1 BP, yay! Still at 9th class, though. Good job, you two. It seems like we were able to complete your objective without running into any major problems. Another thing to take note of is that depending on how you handle a job, you may see an increase or decrease in the amount of pay you receive. When you report the results of your work to the guild, pay in the form of Mira isn't the only thing you will receive. You will also accumulate points, which are known as BP, Bracer Points. BP are an indication of your achievements as a Bracer. When these points exceed a certain value, you will advance in rank as a Bracer and be awarded with a piece of special equipment by the guild. The ranks of a Junior Bracer start at 9 and go all the way up to 1. Please set your sights on making first rank and work hard. The amount of Mira and BP you receive will also be recorded in your Bracer notebook, so please have a look sometime later on. All that's left to do now is finalize your training. Let's head back upstairs, shall we? I'll talk to you later, Ina. I'm sorry about putting more work on your plate today than usual. Don't worry about it. Training new bracers is important for the future of the guild. I fully intend to work these two to the bone in any case. To the bone? And knowing Shara, it'll involve the whip. Let me say it again. Good work, you two. You have now officially completed the entire training course. From now on, you will be learning from your own real-world experience. Well then. Shara's holds out 2 small boxes. Aren't those boxes the ones... In answer to your question, yes, these are the boxes you retrieved during today's test. You seem awfully curious to find out what's inside, Estelle. Are you saying that it's okay if we open them? That's right. Why don't the both of you have a look and see what's inside? Sweet! Alright, let's have a look. And we get Junior Bracer emblems. This crest is... So does this mean that we're... Estelle Bright, Joshua Bright. Beginning this day at 1500 hours, you are both hereby appointed as Junior Bracers within the Bracer Guild. From here on, you will work as members of the Bracer Guild to support the livelihood of those around you, defend peace, and uphold justice. Congratulations, you two, and welcome into the fold. Did you hear that, Joshua? We've become members of the Bracer Guild. Didn't we just say that? So I'm a Bracer now, huh? I think the realization is only now just beginning to sink in. Come on, Joshua, you should be jumping for joy or running around and screaming at the top of your lungs like this. Look at us now, world, we did it! I was happy until you made my eardrums bleed. I hate to interrupt the celebrations, Estelle, but I need to take off now. I have some backed up work that needs my immediate attention. You understand, you have been spending a lot of extra hours working with us during this busy time for the guild. Before you head out, Shara, I just wanted to say thanks. Likewise, I appreciate all the trouble you've gone through for us, Shara. Don't mention it. Training new recruits is one of a Bracer's many duties. Believe it or not, I was once in your shoes a long time ago when your father Cassius trained me. So that's why you have so much respect for my dad, huh? There's actually much more to it than that, but I'll save that conversation for another day. As for the both of you, work hard to become full-fledged Bracers early on so you can help guide those new recruits who come after yourselves. And in time, I hope to see you both become respectable Bracers like your father. Anyway, I'll leave you with that thought. I just don't get it. Get what? This is Shara's art, aka the Silver Streak, one of the most skilled young Bracers we're talking about. So why is it that she holds Dad in such high esteem? He just seems like nothing more than a no-good middle-aged man who's always out doing who knows what instead of being a father. A no-good middle-aged man, huh? From your viewpoint, it doesn't come as a surprise that you would see him in that fashion. Huh? Never mind. Let's hurry and head home. Foreshadowing! We should let Dad know that we qualified as Junior Bracers. Right. We also need to get him a copy of the Liberal News. So I guess now's as good a time as any to check out the rest of the town, but... Actually... Mine have anything to say? Let's see. Nothing to report, okay. Do we have any new jobs? I don't think so at this point. Yeah. So yeah, I think next time we will check out the rest of Rolent, get our dad a newspaper, and move on with the adventure. I'll see you then. And once again, we'll save our game.